Shakespeare's Histories, The King's Shadow, Episode 3. Declaring favor in the eyes of God, Henry Bolingbroke has taken control of England and the king. He summons an uneasy parliament at Westminster Hall in order to cement his power and legitimize his actions. After executing Bushy and Green, Bolingbroke places Richard II's remaining two favorites, Lady Bagot and Edward the Duke of Aumerle, on trial, under the guise of punishing those culpable for the murder of Thomas of Woodstock.
Now, Bagot, freely speak thy mind. What thou dost know of noble Gloucester's death, who wrought it with the king, and who performed the bloody office of his timeless end.
Then set before my face the Lord Aumerle.
Cousin, stand forth and look upon that woman.
My Lord Aumerle, I know your daring tongue scorns to unsay what it hath once delivered. In that dead time when Gloucester's death was plotted, I heard you say, "Is not my arm of length, that reacheth from the restful English court as far as Calais to mine uncle's head?" Amongst much other talk that very time, I heard you say that you had rather refuse the offer of 100,000 crowns than Bolingbroke's return to England, adding, withal, how blessed this land would be in this your cousin's death.
Princes and noble lords, what answer shall I make to this base woman? Shall I so much dishonor my fair stars on equal terms to give her chastisement? Either I must, or have mine honor soiled with the attainder of her slanderous lips. There is my gage, the manual seal of death that marks thee out for hell. I say thou liest, and will maintain what thou hast said is false in thy heart-blood, though being all too base to stain the temper of my knightly sword.
Bagot, forbear. Thou shalt not take it up.
That thy valor stand on sympathy? There is my gage, Aumerle, engaged to thine. I heard thee say, and vauntingly thou spakest it, that thou wert cause of noble Gloucester's death. Thou deniest it 20 times, thou liest, and I will turn thy falsehood to thy heart where it was forged with my rapier's point.
Thou darest not, coward, live to see that day.
Now by my soul, I would it were this hour.
Fitzwater, thou art damned to hell for this!
Aumerle, thou liest! His honor is as true in this appeal as thou art all unjust, and that thou art so, there I throw my gage to prove it on thee to the extremest point of mortal breathing. Seize it, if thou darest.
And if I do not, may my hands rot off and never brandish more revengeful steel over the glittering helmet of my foe.
Aumerle is guilty of my true appeal. Besides, I heard the banished Norfolk say that thou, Aumerle, did send 2 of thy men to execute the noble Duke at Calais.
Some honest Christian trust me with the gage that Norfolk lies. Here do I throw down this, if he may be repealed to try his honor.
These differences shall all rest under gage till Norfolk be repealed. Repealed he shall be. And though mine enemy restored again to all his land and seigneuries, when he's returned, against Aumerle we will enforce his trial.
That honorable day shall ne'er be seen. He toiled with works of war, retired himself to Italy, and there at Venice gave his body to that pleasant country's earth, and his pure soul unto his captain Christ, under whose colors he had fought so long.
Why, Bishop of Carlisle is Norfolk dead.
As surely as I live, my lord.
Sweet peace conduct his sweet soul to the bosom of good old Abraham.
Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from plume-plucked Richard, who with willing soul adopts thee heir, and his high scepter yields to the possession of thy royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Henry of that name the fourth.
In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne.
Marry, God forbid! Worst in this royal presence may I speak, yet best beseeming me to speak the truth. What subject can give sentence on his king? And who sits here that is not Richard's subject? Thieves are not judged, but they are by to hear, although apparent guilt be seen in them. And shall the figure of God's majesty, his captain, steward, deputy, elect, anointed, crowned, planted many years, be judged by subject and inferior breath, and he himself not present? Oh, forbid it, God, that in a Christian climate souls refined should show so heinous, so obscene a deed. My lord of Hereford here, whom you call king, is a foul traitor to proud Hereford's king, and if you crown him, let me prophesy, the blood of English shall manure the ground, and future ages groan for this foul act. Oh, if you raise this house against this house, it will the woefulest division prove that ever fell upon this cursed earth. Prevent it. Resist it, and let it not be so, lest child's children cry against your woe.
Well have you argued, sir, and for your pains of capital treason we arrest you here. My Lord of Westminster be it your charge to keep him safely till his day of trial.
With all my heart, my lord.
May it please you, lords, to grant the commons suit.
Fetch hither Richard, that in common view he may surrender. So we shall proceed without suspicion.
I will be his conduct.
Lords appellants, your differences shall all rest under gage till we assign you to your days of trial. Little are we beholding to your love, and little looked for at your helping hands.
Alack, why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reigned? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, and bend my limbs. Give sorrow leave a while to tutor me to this submission. Yet I well remember the favors of these here. Were they not mine? Did they not sometime cry, "All hail," to me? So Judas did to Christ, but he in 12 found truth in all but one. I in 12,000, none. To do what service am I sent for hither?
To do that office of thine own good will, which tired majesty did make thee offer, the resignation of thy state and crown to Henry Bolingbroke.
Give me the crown. Here, cousin. Seize the crown. Here, cousin. On this side my hand, and on that side yours. Now is this golden crown like a deep well that owes 2 buckets, filling one another. The emptier, ever dancing in the air. The other, down, unseen and full of water. That bucket down and full of tears am I, drinking my griefs, whilst you mount up on high.
I thought you had been willing to resign.
My crown I am, but still my griefs are mine. You may my glories and my state depose, but not my griefs, still am I king of those.
Are you contented to resign the crown?
Aye. No. No. I, for I must nothing be. Therefore no, no. For I resign to thee. Now mark me how I will undo myself. I give this heavy weight from off my head, and this unwieldy scepter from my hand. With mine own tears I wash away my balm. With mine own tongue deny my sacred state. God save King Harry, unkinged Richard says, and send him many years of sunshine days. What more remains?
No more but that you read these accusations and these grievous crimes committed by your person and your followers against the state and profit of this land, that by confessing them the souls of all may deem that you are worthily deposed.
Must I do so? And must I ravel out my weaved-up folly? Gentle Northumberland, if thy offenses were upon record, would it not shame thee in so fair a troop to read a lecture of them? If thou wouldst, there shouldst thou find one heinous article containing
My lord,
the deposing of a
dispatch!
king.
Read all these articles!
Mine eyes are full of tears, I cannot see. And yet salt water blinds them not so much, but they can see a sort of traitors here. Nay, if I turn mine eyes upon myself, I find myself a traitor with the rest. For I have given here my soul's consent to undeck the pompous body of a king.
My lord!
No lord of thine, thou hot insulting man! Nor no one's lord. I have no name, no title, but 'tis usurped. Alack, the heavy day that I have worn so many winters out, and know not now what name to call myself. And if my word be sterling yet in England, let it command a mirror hither straight, that it may show me what a face I have, since it is bankrupt of his majesty.
Go, one of you, and fetch a looking-glass.
Read o'er this paper while the glass doth come.
Fiend, thou torment'st me ere I come to hell.
Urge it no more, my lord Northumberland.
The commons will not then be satisfied.
They shall be satisfied. I'll read enough when I do see the very book indeed where all my sins are writ, and that's myself. Give me the glass. Bag it. And therein will I read. No deeper wrinkles yet. Hath sorrow struck so many blows upon this face of mine, and made no deeper wounds? Oh, flattering glass, like to my followers in prosperity, thou dost beguile me. Was this face the face that every day under his household roof did keep 10,000 men? Was this the face that, like the sun, did make beholders wink? Was this the face that faced so many follies, and was at last outfaced by Bolingbroke? A brittle glory shineth in this face, as brittle as the glory is the face. For there it is, cracked in 100 shivers. Mark, silent king, the moral of this sport, how soon my sorrow hath destroyed my face.
The shadow of your sorrow hath destroyed the shadow of your face.
Say that again.
The shadow of your
my
sorrow.
Let's see. 'Tis very true. My grief lies all within, and these external manners of laments are merely shadows to the unseen grief that swells with silence in the tortured soul. There lies the substance. And I thank thee, King, for thy great bounty, that not only gives me cause to wail, but teacheth me the way how to lament the cause. I'll beg one boon and then be gone and trouble you no more. Shall I obtain it?
Name it, fair cousin.
Fair cousin? I am greater than a king. For when I was a king, my flatterers were then but subjects. Being now a subject, I have a king here to my flatterer. Being so great, I have no need to beg.
Yet ask.
And shall I have?
You shall.
Then give me leave to go.
Whither?
Whither you will, so I were from your sights.
Go, some of you. Convey him to the tower.
Oh, good. Convey. Conveyors are you all, that rise thus nimbly by a true king's fall.
On Wednesday next, we solemnly set down our coronation. Lords, prepare yourselves.
Having seized the crown, Bolingbroke dismisses Parliament. The Abbot of Westminster, the Bishop of Carlisle, and the Duke of Aumerle remain behind.
A woeful pageant have we here beheld.
Woes to come. The children yet unborn shall feel this day as sharp to them as thorn.
You holy clergyman, is there no plot to rid the realm of this pernicious blot?
My lords, I see your brows are full of discontent, your hearts of sorrow and your eyes of tears. Come home with me to supper, and I'll lay a plot shall show us all a merry day.
This way the king will come. This is the way to Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower, to whose flint bosom my condemned lord is doomed a prisoner by proud Bolingbroke. Here let us rest, if this rebellious earth have any resting for her true king's queen. But soft, but see, or rather do not see my fair rose wither. Yet look up, voici, that you in pity may dissolve to dew, and wash him fresh again with true love tears. Thou, map of honor, thou King Richard's tomb, and not King Richard. Thou most beauteous inn, why should hard-favoured grief be lodged in thee, when triumph has become an alehouse guest?
Join not with grief, fair woman, do not so, to make my end too sudden. Learn, good soul, to think our former state a happy dream, from which, awaked, the truth of what we are shows us but this.
What? Is my Richard, both in shape and mind, transformed and weakened? Hath Bolingbroke deposed thine intellect? Hath he been in thy heart? The lion, dying, thrusteth forth his paw and wounds the earth. And wilt thou, pupil-like, take thy correction mildly, kiss the rod, and fawn on rage with base humility, which art a lion and a king of beasts?
A king of beasts, indeed. If aught but beasts, I had been still a happy king of men. Good sometime, queen, prepare thee hence for France. Think I am dead, and that even here thou takest as from my deathbed thy last living leave.
My lord, the mind of Bolingbroke is changed. You must to Pomfret, not unto the tower. And, madam, there is order ta'en for you. With all swift speed you must away to France.
Northumberland, thou ladder wherewithal the mounting Bolingbroke ascends my throne. The time shall not be many hours of age more than it is, ere foul sin, gathering head, shalt break into corruption. Thou shalt think, though he divide the realm and give thee half, it is too little, helping him to all. And he shall think that thou, which know'st the way to plant unrightful kings, wilt know again, being ne'er so little urged, another way to pluck him headlong from the usurped throne.
My guilt be on my head, and there an end. Take leave and part, for you must part forthwith.
And must we be divided? Must we part?
Aye. Hand from hand, my love, and heart from heart.
Banish us both, and send the king with me.
That were some love, but little policy.
Then whither he goes, thither let me go.
So two, together weeping, make one woe. Weep thou for me in France, I for thee here. Better far off than near, be ne'er the near. Go. Count thy way with sighs, I mine with groans.
So longest way shall have the longest moans.
Come, come. In wooing sorrow let's be brief, since wedding it, there is such length in grief. One kiss shall stop our mouths and dumbly part. Thus give I mine, and thus take I thy heart.
Give me mine own again. 'Twere no good part to take on me to keep and kill thy heart. So, now I have mine own again. Be gone, that I might strive to kill it with a groan.
We make woe wanton with this fond delay. Once more, adieu. The rest let sorrow say.
Richard and Isabel are parted, never to see each other again. On Bolingbroke's coronation day, he rides triumphantly through London, with Richard in tow as his prisoner. The Duke of York, now the last remaining son of Edward III, seeks to keep his family in the new king's good graces.
My lord, you told me you would tell the rest when weeping made you break the story off of our two cousins coming into London.
Then, as I said, the Duke, great Bolingbroke, mounted upon a hot and fiery steed, with slow but stately pace kept on his course, whilst all tongues cried, God save thee, Bolingbroke.
Alas, poor Richard.
No joyful tongue gave him his welcome home, but dust was thrown upon his sacred head, which with such gentle sorrow he shook off, his face still combating with tears and smiles the badges of his grief and patience, that had not God for some strong purpose steeled the hearts of men, they must perforce have melted, and barbarism itself had pitied him. But heaven hath a hand in these events, to whose high will we bound our calm contents. To Bolingbroke are we sworn subjects now, whose state and honor eye for eye allow.
Here comes my son Aumerle.
Aumerle that was, but that is lost for being Richard's friend, for, madam, you must call him Rutland now. No. I am in Parliament pledged for his truth and lasting fealty to the new-made king.
Welcome, my son. Who are the violets now that strew the green lap of the new-come spring?
Madam, I know not, nor I greatly care not. God knows I had as lief be none as one.
Well, bear you well in this new spring of time, lest you be cropped before you come to prime. What news from Oxford? Do these jousts and triumphs hold?
For aught I know, my lord, they do.
You will be there, I know.
If God prevent it not, I purpose so.
What seal is that hangs without thy bosom?
My lord, 'tis nothing.
No matter then who see it. I will be satisfied. Let me see the writing.
I do beseech your grace to pardon me. It is a matter of small consequence, which for some reasons I would not have seen.
Which for some reason, sir, I mean to see. Treason. Foul treason. Villain. Traitor.
What is the matter, my lord?
Oh, who is within there? Saddle my horse. God for his mercy, what treachery is
Why,
here?
what is it, my lord?
Now, by mine honor, by my life, by my troth, I will appeach the villain.
What is the matter?
Peace, foolish woman.
I will not peace. What is the matter, son?
Good mother, be content. It is no more than my poor life must answer.
Thy life answer?
Bring me my boots. I will unto the king.
Why, York, what wilt thou do? Will thou not hide the trespass of thine own? Have we more sons, or are we like to have? Is not my teeming date drunk up with time? And wilt thou pluck my fair son from mine age, and rob me of a happy mother's name?
Thou fond mad woman, wilt thou conceal this foul conspiracy? A dozen of them here have taken the sacrament and interchangeably set down their hands to kill the king at Oxford.
He shall be none. We'll keep him here. Then what is that to him?
Away, fond woman! Were he 20 times my son, I would appeach him.
After Aumerle, mount thee upon his horse, spur post, and get before him to the king, and beg thy pardon ere he do accuse thee. I'll not be long behind, though I be old. I doubt not but to ride as fast as York. And never will I rise up from the ground till Bolingbroke have pardoned thee. Away, be gone!
Now King Henry IV, Bolingbroke turns his attention to consolidating his power and securing his legacy. As the first Lancastrian king, he desires to establish a lasting dynasty. But his eldest son, Harry of Monmouth, known as Hal, takes no interest in government.
Can no one tell of my unthrifty son? 'Tis full 3 months since I did see him last. If any plague hang over us, 'tis he. I would to God, my lords, he might be found. Enquire at London, mongst the taverns there, for there, they say, he daily doth frequent with unrestrained loose companions.
My lord, some 2 days since I saw the prince, and told him of those triumphs planned for Oxford.
And what said the gallant?
His answer was, he would unto the stews, and from the commonest creature pluck a glove, and wear it as a favor, and with that he would unhorse the lustiest challenger.
As dissolute as desperate.
Where is the king?
What means our cousin that he stares and looks so wildly?
God save your grace. I do beseech your majesty to have some conference with your grace. Alone?
Withdraw yourselves and leave us here alone. What is the matter with our cousin now?
Forever may my knees grow to the earth, my tongue cleave to my roof within my mouth, unless a pardon ere I rise or speak.
Intended or committed was this fault. If on the first, how heinous ere it be, to win thy after love, I pardon thee.
Then give me leave that I may turn the key, that no one enter till my tale be done.
Have thy desire.
My liege, beware! Look to thyself! Thou hast a traitor in thy presence there!
Villain, I'll make thee safe.
Stay thy revengeful hand, thou hast no cause to fear.
Open the door, secure, foolhardy king! Shall I for love speak treason to thy face? Open the door, or I will break it open!
What is the matter, uncle? Speak! Recover breath. Tell us how near is danger, that we may arm us to encounter it.
Peruse this writing here, and thou shalt know the treason that my haste forbids me show.
Remember, as thou readst thy promise past, I do repent me. Read not my name there, my heart is not confederate with my hand.
It was, villain, ere thy hand did set it down. I tore it from the traitor's bosom, king. Fear and not love begets his penitence.
What ho, my liege, for God's sake, let me in!
What shrill-voiced suppliant makes this eager cry?
A woman and thy aunt, great king, 'tis I. Speak with me, pity me, open the door. A beggar begs that never begged before.
Our scene is altered from a serious thing and now changed to the beggar and the king. My dangerous cousin, let your mother in. I know she has come to pray for your foul sin.
Thou frantic woman, what dost thou make here? Shall thy old dugs once more a traitor rear?
Sweet York, be patient. Hear me, gentle liege.
Rise up, good aunt.
Not yet, I thee beseech. For ever will I walk upon my knees, and never see day that the happy sees, till thou give joy, until thou bid me joy, by pardoning Rutland, my transgressing boy.
Unto my mother's prayers I bend my knee.
Against them both my true joints bended be. Ill mayst thou thrive if thou grant any grace.
Pleads he in earnest? Look upon his face. His eyes do drop no tears, his prayers are in jest. His words come from his mouth, ours from our breast. His weary joints would gladly rise, I know. Our knees shall kneel till to the ground they grow.
Good aunt, stand up.
Nay, do not say stand up. Say pardon first, and afterwards stand up. And if I were thy nurse, thy tongue to teach, pardon should be the first word of thy speech.
Speak it in French, king. Say pardonnez-moi.
Dost thou teach pardon, pardon to destroy? Ugh, my sour husband, my hard-hearted lord, that sets the word itself against the word. Speak pardon as 'tis current in our land, that chopping French we do not understand. Thine eye begins to speak, set thy tongue there, or in thy piteous heart plant thou thine ear, that hearing how our plaints and prayers do pierce, pity may move thee pardon to rehearse.
Good aunt, stand up.
I do not sue to stand. Pardon is all the suit I have in hand.
I pardon him as God shall pardon me.
Oh, happy vantage of a kneeling knee. Yet am I sick for fear. Speak it again. Twice saying pardon doth not pardon twain, but makes one pardon strong.
With all my heart, I pardon him.
A god on earth thou art.
But for the rest of that consorted crew, destruction straight shall dog them at the heels. Good uncle, help to order several powers to Oxford, or where'er these traitors are. They shall not live within this world, I swear, but I will have them if I once know where. Uncle, farewell. And cousin, too, adieu. Your mother well hath prayed, and prove you true.
Come, my old son, I pray God make thee new.
Aumerle is not the only former friend of Richard's occupying a tenuous position in the new king's court. Bagot, likewise, looks for a way to secure her safety and avoid the fate that met Bushy and Green.
Didst thou not mark the king? What words he spake? Have I no friend will rid me of this living fear? Was it not so?
These were his very words.
Have I no friend, quoth he. He spake it twice, and urged it twice together, did he not?
He did.
And speaking it, he wistly looked on me, as who should say, I would thou wert the one that would divorce this terror from my heart, meaning the king at Pomfret. Come, let's go. I am the king's friend, and will rid his foe.
I have been studying how I may compare this prison where I live unto the world. And for because the world is populous, and here is not a creature but myself, I cannot do it. Yet I'll hammer it out. My brain, I'll prove the female to my soul the father. And these two beget a generation of still-breeding thoughts. And these same thoughts people this little world. In humors like the people of this world, for no thought is contented. Thoughts tending to ambition, they do plot unlikely wonders. How these vain, weak nails may tear a passage through the flinty ribs of this hard world, my ragged prison walls. And for they cannot die in their own pride. Thoughts tending to content flatter themselves that they are not the first of fortune's slaves, nor shall not be the last, like silly beggars who sitting in the stocks refuge their shame that many have and others must sit there, and in this thought they find a kind of ease, bearing their own misfortunes on the back of such as have before endured the like. Thus play I in one person many people, and none contented. Sometimes am I king. Then treasons make me wish myself a beggar, and so I am. Then crushing penury persuades me I was better when a king. Then am I kinged again, and by think that I am unkinged by Bolingbroke, and straight am nothing. But whate'er I be, nor I, nor any man that but man is, with nothing shall be pleased, till he be eased with being nothing. Music do I hear? Keep time! How sour sweet music is when time is broke and no proportion kept. So is it in the music of men's lives. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me. For now hath time made me his numbering clock. My thoughts are minutes, and with sighs they jar their watches on unto mine eyes. The outward watch, whereto my finger, like a dial's point, is pointing still, in cleansing them from tears. Now, sir, the sound that tells what hour it is are clamorous groans, which strike upon my heart, which is the bell. So sighs and tears and groans show minutes and times and hours. But my time runs posting on in Bolingbroke's proud joy, while I stand fooling here, his jack of the clock. This music mads me. Let it sound no more.
Hail, royal prince.
Thanks, noble peer. The cheapest of us is 10 groats too dear. What art thou, and how comest thou hither?
I was a poor groom of thy stable, king, when thou wert king, who, travelling towards York with much ado at length, have gotten leave to look upon my sometimes royal master's face. Oh, how it yearned my heart when I beheld in London streets that coronation day, when Bolingbroke rode on roan Barbary, that horse that thou so oft hast bestrid, that horse that I so carefully have dressed.
Rode he on Barbary? Tell me, gentle friend, how went he under him?
So proudly as if he disdained the ground.
So proud that Bolingbroke was on his back. That jade hath that bred from my royal hand. This hand hath made him proud with clapping him. Would he not stumble? Would he not fall down? Since pride must have a fall and break the neck of that proud man that did usurp his back.
Girl, give place. Here is no longer stay.
If thou love me, 'tis time thou wert away.
What my tongue dares not, that my heart shall say. Help! Help!
Help! How now? What means death in this rude assault? Villain, thy own hand yields thy death's instrument. That hand shall burn in never-quenching fire that staggers thus my person. Bagot, thy fierce hand hath with the king's blood stained the king's own land. Mount, mount, my soul, thy seat is up on high, whilst my gross flesh sinks downward here to die.
full of valor as of royal blood. Both have I spilled. Oh, would the deed were good. For now the devil that told me I did well says that this deed is chronicled in hell. This dead king to the living king I'll bear. Take hence the rest, and give them burial here.
Kind Uncle York, the latest news we hear is that the rebels have consumed with fire our town of Chichester and Gloucestershire, but whether they be ta'en or slain, we hear not. Welcome, Northumberland. What is the news?
First, to thy sacred state wish I all happiness. The next news is I have to London sent the heads of Salisbury, Spencer, Scroop, and Kent. The manner of their taking may appear at large discoursed in this paper here.
We thank thee, gentle Percy, for thy pains, and to thy worth will add right worthy gains.
My lord, I have from Oxford sent to London the heads of Brocas and Sir Bennet Seeley, two of the dangerous consorted traitors that sought at Oxford thy dire overthrow.
Thy pains, Fitzwater, shall not be forgot. Right noble is thy merit, well I wot.
The grand conspirator, Abbot of Westminster, with clog of conscience and sour melancholy, hath yielded up his body to the grave. But here is Carlisle living, to abide thy kingly doom and sentence of his pride.
Kind thanks, young Percy. Carlisle, this is your doom. Choose out some secret place, some reverend room, more than thou hast, and with it, joy thy life. So as thou liv'st in peace, die free from strife. For though mine enemy thou hast ever been, high sparks of honor in thee have I seen.
Great king, within this coffin I present thy buried fear. Herein all breathless lies the mightiest of thy greatest enemies, Richard of Bordeaux, by me hither brought.
Bagot, I thank thee not, for thou hast wrought a deed of slander with thy fatal hand upon my head and all this famous land.
From your own mouth, my lord, did I this deed.
They love not poison that do poison need, nor do I thee. Though I did wish him dead, I hate the murderer, love him murdered. The guilt of conscience take thou for thy labor, but neither my good word nor princely favor with Cain go wander through shades of night, and never show thy head by day nor light. Lords, I protest, my soul is full of woe that blood should sprinkle me to make me grow. I'll make a voyage to the Holy Land to wash this blood off from my guilty hand.
With Richard II dead, the English nobility must accept Bolingbroke's reign. Bolingbroke seeks to secure his position by marrying his son, Prince Hal, to Queen Isabel. When she rejects the union, he sends her back to France, refusing to return her dowry. Though the Oxford conspiracy has been thwarted, Bolingbroke must find a way to heal the torn nation and prevent further civil war if he wants to remain king.
Ave Rex.
You've been listening to Shakespeare's Histories, Season 1, The King's Shadow, presented by Brave Spirits Theatre.
Shakespeare's Histories is directed by Charlene V. Smith.
The recording producer and editor is Patrick Flynn.
With dramaturgy and additional directing by Marshall B. Garrett.
Dramaturgy and additional directing by Claire Kimball.
And dramaturgy by Liam Thomas Daly.
The acting company for Shakespeare's Histories is
Mikey Bannigan,
Zach Brewster-Geisz,
Jordan Brown,
Dean Carlson,
Jacqueline Chenault,
Gary DuBreuil,
Brianna Goode,
Lisa Hill-Corley,
Thomas Howley,
Caroline Johnson,
Brendan Edward Kennedy,
Annette Mooney, Victoria Reinsel,
Duane Richards,
Jillian Riti,
Ian Blackwell Rogers,
Nicole Ruth Marie, Charlene V. Smith,
John Stange,
Molly E. Thomas,
and Joshua Williams.
The composer and music director is Jordan Friend.
the dialect coach is Jenna Burke,
The production manager for Shakespeare's Histories is Lisa Hill-Corley.
the stage manager is Jen Katz.
The audio recordings of Shakespeare's Histories were made possible through funding from the Nora Roberts Foundation, the City of Alexandria, the Morgan Fund at the Seattle Foundation, the Virginia Commission for the Arts, and the National Endowment for the Arts.
Learn more about Brave Spirits Theater by visiting our website at www.bravespiritstheater.com.